Welcome back to another one of our editions of SCLC, trying to bring you some information that's real important. And I have with me the Minister Marvin Green, Reverend Dr. Marvin Green, I've always called him, even since he was in high school. And he is the club director for Boys and Girls Club of Metro Richmond. And he's a youth minister, like I'm a youth minister. And we both are dedicated to helping young people understand how it is that life is complicated and you got to make some good decisions in order to grow up and be successful. And I've known this brother for quite some time, since he was a young man. He's still a young man. But how you doing, Minister Green? Marvin, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. Enjoying life, and my theme for life is I'm easy like Sunday morning.
Easy like Sunday morning. I love that. Love that. Well, I tell people I'm too blessed to be stressed.
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about. Marvin, help me out. Help me understand something right now. You've always been politically astute. You've always been a student of understanding how things get done. What is it that's going on with young people right now that we need to address that can help them understand how important it is to get involved in policy and politics?
So I believe what the problem is, and I know we got a solution to it. We just got to be more. We got to be very intentional about it. But the problem is that I hear that a lot of young people really don't think they have the voice that they want to have in policy, and in politics to get things moving and shaking on their behalf.
Okay.
And so in those conversations, you'll hear about more podcasts, marches, them doing certain things so their voice can be involved, but they do feel like no one is hearing them because they're not seeing results from when they do get involved. Okay. And I give you a quick example. I think the day of using young people as, oh, they're so sweet, they're so nice, and not listening and listening to what they're saying to apply what they're asking, we're going to continue to lose young people when it comes down to vote.
Okay.
Because it's so cute. Oh, they're so cute. Look at their main signs. Oh, look at that. And then when it's time for action, ain't no action because they're too cute.
Right. They made signs, right? They made signs. I like that.
Yeah.
That's crazy, right?
Right.
Wow.
And so I really believe, Mr. McGee, that it's so important that, for instance, Boys and Girls Club, we have a youth advocacy group, that adults learn how to lead from the back of the room.
Okay.
But adults want to lead from the front of the room, and that creates adultism. And adultism is when adults want you to say this because we need this. But wait a minute, I may not think we need that. Can we compromise where my voice is in it also? Right? And so we want I've been here this long and you ain't this and that. Listen, let's get away from that. Let's come together in unity and put all voices at the table.
Okay.
And so I believe once we allow young folks' voice, I'm gonna end on that note, and I'm gonna say this: once we let young folks' voices be amplified, we'll see a change.
That's what I'm talking about. We grew up with that be seen and not heard mentality. That's what you're talking about. Young people need to be seen and not heard. We need your bodies, but we don't need your opinions.
Yes, come on. Yes.
Well, let me say to you right now, because I'm gonna be focusing on this. One of the things that came about today, just today, was the fact that the officers who killed Breonna Taylor were indicted on civil rights violations. That's an important thing that I want young people to understand. So here I'm doing a little preaching right now. The reason that happens or happened is because people voted and the right people got in place to appoint the right people. The young lady who was in charge of the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department is a young African American attorney who does not play. And she decided that if the state of Kentucky was not going to indict them, that the federal government would indict them for violating Breonna Taylor's civil rights. That's a win-win, because had she not been in place, these guys would have walked away after killing that young lady in her house because the government in Kentucky was not going to prosecute them. So, young people, there's an example of how voting pays off, because you end up putting people in places that will do the things. Everybody marched about Breonna Taylor. Everybody was concerned about Breonna Taylor. The city, the state of Kentucky did nothing, but now the federal government is indicting and arresting those officers. Isn't that's a good thing, right?
Yes,
sir. But again, you know, you pointed out something that I'm going to be hopping on here in the near future, which is we don't do a good job of selling items like that to young people. We don't do a good job of telling them what we've done that really benefits them, or what the government that was elected has done to benefit them. Here's another one that benefits them. And you and I haven't talked about it, but we will. Virginia this year, as of October 1st, you can walk into the voting booth in November and register to vote right there when it's time to cast your vote. I don't know if anybody's been talking about that. Have you been hearing that?
Didn't hear it, but that's great news.
It is great news, because that we know that sometimes we're some last minute folk, right? And what had happened before was voter registration has been expiring on people, and you still need to register to vote early if you can, especially if you have a driver's license, because you can do it online. You don't even have to go in. If you have a driver's license in Virginia, see, this is the other thing that we need to make young people realize, and old people, that now in the state of Virginia, if you have a driver's license or an official state ID, you can register to vote online, period.
Okay.
Secondly, even if you haven't registered to vote, show up at the polls on voting day, show your ID. They'll give you a provisional ballot. You fill a ballot out, you give it to them. They will check your ID to make sure you're an eligible voter. And if you are, your vote will count that day. But we have to do a better job of selling it to young people. And I agree with you 100%. We have to do a better job of listening to young people. So in closing, give me one more statement as to what we can do to get kids to come to the polls, or what we can plan together with Boys and Girls Club and Sclc to have a little round table or discussion with young people to find out what it is that they think is important.
Yeah, I think that's going to be important that we go ahead and start educating, right?
Right.
A lot of times, young people really don't know. And what I found out is social media is not really the best way to learn.
Right. Right.
Because every source ain't true.
Right, that's true too.
So that causes problems when it's time for the truth. Like, nobody's on social media saying when you go to the poll, you can register that day and vote. That's not a meme. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That need to be a meme. Somebody pops in there, yo, can I vote? Yes. Register now. Bam.
Right here. Give us your driver's license or give us your ID.
Yeah. So we got to be creative. And for me, I was part of the Crusade for Voters a long time. Got a little perturbed and upset and left because it felt like it was just going to be, it was the old system kept going and going. And I'm a disruptor. And I really believe if we disrupt and educate, we'll see a difference.
Well, just like when you and I worked together when you were in high school, we're gonna work together with SCLC because I promise you, you know, it's my DNA to let young people be heard. I mean,
Yes.
you used to come to my office and be heard all the time. So I'm definitely on with you in 100%. Let's hear what young people have to say. And then, like what we just did then, let's educate them. Let's let
Yes.
them know what it is, the things that have happened, the things that are being done that benefit them or that will bring justice to America. Because while the prosecution of the police for Breonna Taylor doesn't necessarily benefit young people, it is an example of justice in America being bought by the federal government. And that's why it's so important, like this election coming up, all the United States Congress is up for election. And a lot of people would be saying, well, why should I vote? They haven't done anything for me. Oh, yes, they did. Oh, yes, they did. They put the right people in the Justice Department, and they okayed the right people to be in the Justice Department to turn around and bring civil rights charges against these people who killed Breonna Taylor. So that's one example. I do appreciate you coming on, man.
Right.
I appreciate your time. I'm gonna bring you back. We're gonna have this roundtable with young people. Marvin Green, director of the Boys and Girls Club or club manager, whatever, the head man who's right there in the trenches with Boys and Girls Club of Metro Richmond. Thank you, my brother, for coming on.
All right. Thank you for having me. My favorite principal in the whole wide world.
Amen. Amen. God bless. Take care.